Rains in Ecuador have left 14 people dead and over 73,000 affected. The Chinese government denounced the recent U.S. statements regarding Taiwan. And the 2025 carnival season continues in Latin America and the Caribbean. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Ecuador, a total of 14 people have died and more than 73,000 have been affected by the torrential rains that hit the country. The National Risk Management Secretariat reported that since the beginning of the year, there have been downpours, floods, and rising rivers in the country. The most affected areas are located in the coastal provinces of Manabí, with 49,886 people affected, followed by Guayas with 12,969. In this context, authorities confirmed that 14 temporary shelters have been activated, where 593 people are receiving support, while rains are expected to remain intense in the coming days. In northeastern Peru, heavy rains and thunderstorms hit several provinces. Local media reported that the province of Tumbes experienced strong floods that affected large areas and several communities. The weather emergency has paralyzed the entire community of Tumbes, mainly in the district of Corrales, where the main road collapsed. In view of the floods, the residents demand the presence of the civil defense and local authorities to drain the water and help those neighbors who were left without their homes and belongings. In the United States, authorities report emergency as more than 175 wildfires scorched North and South Carolina. According to official sources, the forest fires registered in the last hours have forced citizens to evacuate the affected areas. Authorities also say that this weekend an outbreak of fires spread rapidly through the forest of South Carolina, destroying over 1,200 acres and affecting an additional 3,000. The magnitude of the blazes has triggered a state of emergency in the area despite the efforts of 410 firefighters and 128 emergency vehicles deployed in the zone. Mexican independent journalist Cristian Uriel Zavala was murdered Sunday in the state of Guanajuato. The Secretariat of Citizen Security of Silao recorded a vehicle with gunshot impacts on the windshield. Inside the vehicle, they found the bodies of two young men, one of whom was the journalist. The Attorney General's Office of the state of Guanajuato launched investigations into the case. Cristian Zavala succeeded in documenting local issues with his work, which made him a critical voice in this Mexican town. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum assured Monday that she has a plan to face any of the tariffs announced by the United States government. With less than a day before the implementation of the tariffs, Sheinbaum called the Mexican people to be calm and to wait for Washington's decisions. The Mexican head of state affirmed that her government had specific plans for each measure to be taken by the U.S. administration. Let's go to Venezuela, where the Defense Minister General Vladimir Padrino Lopez denounced Sunday that 28 foreign drilling and tanker vessels are operating in the Guyanese controversial zone. Earlier, the Guyanese President Irfan Ali had expressed his concern over a Venezuelan patrol ship which was allegedly threatening the ExxonMobil production. In response, the minister described the 28 foreign vessels as an incident that violates international humanitarian law seriously. Padrino further ensured satellite records and numerous pieces of evidence proved these overseas vessels illegally exploit and trade hydrocarbons in the area. Likewise, the general mentioned the case of Georgetown, where they have no legal basis or legitimacy to unilaterally make arrangements in a space they can exert neither sovereignty nor jurisdiction. In Haiti on Sunday, the main leader of the criminal group's ex-police officer Jimmy Cheriser threatened the country's authorities after a police operation in the Bas de Delmas area. Through a video, the criminal leader, nicknamed Barbecue, said that police action in one of the strongholds of criminal groups in the lower part of the capital, Port-au-Prince, would be replied with similar force. Barbecue further assured that he had brothers all over the world and told his enemies to be prepared for the consequences and not to forget that force should be proportional. He said he would buy drones and use them as they were used to assassinate him with explosives, stating that he could use drones with explosives to kill anyone in the country. Now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Chinese government has rejected the recent U.S. statements on China's Taiwan island. At a press conference, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Yan denounced the comments made by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, which he said represent a Cold War mentality and are based on lies. The spokesman reiterated that there is only one China in the world and that Taiwan is part of it, and urged Washington to stop its provocations on Taipei. Furthermore, Lin Yan reiterated that Rubio's statements distort reality and could hinder bilateral relations between China and the United States. The 27 European Union leaders met Sunday in the United Kingdom to support Ukraine, granting Europe is a giant awake. Despite such Russophobic claim, Europeans need the United States for their development. Therefore, they will submit their peace proposal to Presidents Putin and Trump. The European Union members agreed on keeping up with the pressure in Moscow, rejecting Washington's support to the Kremlin and backing up Ukraine's struggle for alleged freedom and independence. Nonetheless, they acknowledged that any of those three items could not be fulfilled if the United States stopped its sponsorship, which President Trump advanced not to allocate a single penny to Kyiv anymore. The United States Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, stated the nation will not give aid to Ukraine until its President Volodymyr Zelensky is prepared to negotiate an end to the war. During an interview with a U.S. media outlet, Lutnick assured that everything was in place to reach a good agreement, and the Ukrainian president had an outburst 45 minutes before the TV cameras arrived. From then on, he began to demand the withdrawal of the Russians from his country and reparations to the tune of $300 billion, as well as security warranties from the United States. Lutnick assured that this is why President Trump accused him of playing with World War III, and confirmed that there would be no aid without real warranties of peace. The statements also serve as a response to pressure from European countries following Trump and Zelensky's controversial meeting. On Monday, the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas accused Israel of acting to derail the truce agreement in the Gaza Strip, which is currently on pause. Senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan said that Israeli violations of the agreement did in the first phase prove that the occupation wanted to kill the agreement and did everything possible to do so. Hamdan added that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent decisions to endorse the U.S. proposal to extend the first phase of the agreement contradict what had been negotiated. White House representatives for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, proposed to extend the first phase of the ceasefire during Ramadan in exchange for the release of all hostages. This after the U.S. government has already approved the sale of $4 billion worth of weapons to Tel Aviv. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar and Egypt have denounced Israel for violating the ceasefire agreement and strongly condemned the Zionist blockade of humanitarian aid. The foreign ministries of the four countries stated that Tel Aviv's decision is a flagrant violation of their own agreements. Furthermore, they rejected the use of hunger as a weapon against the Palestinian people, especially in the middle of the holy month of Ramadan. Less than 24 hours before a regional summit to discuss the reconstruction of Gaza, the Foreign Ministry of Egypt hosted the important meeting, reiterates that only with goodwill and political determination will there be progress in the talks. The Palestinian Red Crescent on Monday confirmed the death of a 3-month-old baby girl after she suffocated from tear gas fired by the Israeli army. This attack took place at the entrance to the Jenin refugee camp in the north of the West Bank, which is under siege by the occupier. Although the girl was immediately taken to a health center, she lost her life due to the inhalation of these gases. Israel's genocidal forces have wreaked havoc in this refugee camp, an operation that the Palestinian government describes as a new forced displacement by the Zionist regime. More than 40,000 Palestinians have been expelled under the brutal attacks of the occupier in Jenin, Tulkarem and Nur Shams. Syrian de facto government presented Sunday the committee to draft the constitutional charter for the transitional government amid a wave of violence. The coup-monger president, former Al-Qaeda member Mohammed al-Julani, alias Ahmed al-Shara, presented the 7-member board that will draft the charter. The committee will be made up of 2 women, 5 men, with track records in legal and political affairs. The draft will be presented this week before the de facto president. In this context, authorities reported Sunday 4 deaths and several wounded as a result of an attack in the northern region. We have a second short break coming up. We'll be right back with more from the south. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Cuban Institute of Cinema, Art and Industry received on Sunday the Ibero-American Cooperation for Development Award in the Culture category. The Organization of Ibero-American States for Education, Science and Culture grants this prestigious award to the Cuban organization for its outstanding contribution to the cooperation for the development of the region. ICAEC has developed key projects such as the Latin American News Program and the Cine Cubano magazine, in addition to being a reference in the training of filmmakers from all over. And with only 2 days left to go, Carnival is in full swing in Olinda, Brazil. Here's our correspondent Brian Mier with more.
I'm in Olinda, Pernambuco, where the rains this morning did nothing to diminish the turnout of Pitomberes, one of the most traditional frevo orchestras in Olinda Carnival. There's at least 100,000 people here out on the street, and starting at 10 this morning, they've been parading down the cobblestone avenues of Olinda with 2 orchestras, 2 dance groups, and I'm going to turn around here and show you a little bit of what's going on to the mood here. I don't know if the audio is going to hold out, but as you can see, the crowd is enormous. Unlike some of the more standardized carnivals in southeastern Brazil, everyone wears their own costume. People invent their own kind of creative costumes, and the mood is exuberant here. This is the 78th year that Pitomberes has paraded down the avenue in Olinda on the Monday of Carnival. And as you can see, people are enjoying it. It's only 10:30 in the morning here, but everyone is starting their day out on the right foot today in Olinda.
And with these celebrations, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.